Blancmange on WFDU FM from 1982 with Living on the Ceiling. And Blancmange formed back in 1979 in Great Britain, and in the early 80s they had a slew of successful singles in Britain, like Living on the Ceiling and Blind Vision, Waves, Don't Tell Me, and they've remained favorites here on WFDU FM ever since. And tonight we have the pleasure of having Neil Arthur and Stephen Luscombe of Blancmange on the show. Welcome to the show, and can you guys tell me anything about the recording of that song, Living on the Ceiling?
Questions like that is Neil's territory. It was written in 1981, as far as I remember, and I can remember Stephen coming around with a sketch. We were using cassette machines and stuff like that, and rhythm machines, and tape loops and what have you since. And I was living in a squat in Wood Green, which is in North London, and we always recorded everything we did when we rehearsed. And we started rehearsing, and I was trying to come up with I got some words, and I was trying to come up with a melody line, and came up with the line that ended up being kind of played back on a sitar.
Right.
And came up with that line, and it was only, in all honesty, I actually made a mistake on the fretboard. And we thought that sounded nice, so we stopped the tape and had a listen to it. And I found out what mistake I'd made, and we said, yeah, let's leave that in. And that's how that melody really came about, by me kind of going down a route, and luckily I was having the recorder on at the time, I just go with the flow. Of course, when we recorded it, we were introduced to Dinesh and Deepak. And we, in fact, still work with Dinesh, and Stephen works very closely with Dinesh. But Dinesh has been involved on the new project on some of the tracks as well. Yeah. And it's great. He's a very good friend of ours, and in fact, I play in another project with him as well called AWP1 from time to time, which is another side thing. Yeah, so
it's a great track. It shows up on a lot of compilations. It was used in one of the Grand Theft Auto video games too.
Really?
Yeah. You need to check.
I'll publish it about that. Find out if I've got any money for it.
Exactly. But I want to go back to the beginning of Blancmange and the name. It's kind of a bizarre thing to call your band. Who came up with that, Stephen?
Well, I suggested it because I was just like going back in time, this sort of interview. It's just a white or pink milky pudding, and it was originally made in the Middle Ages by monks and nuns for Lent, but just before Lent to use up all the sugar, flour. But there's also quite a high-class dessert as well. But it became a figure of fun in the sort of our age, as sort of kids' food for children's parties. And we used to have parties as students and make all these silly, like, nibbles, enough parties.
Right.
But they were just things like, you probably don't get them in America. They were just kids' sweets, all on sticks and stuck into rabbit moulds and things like this. And at that time, it just said, also because everybody else was having like bleak industrial cooling towers and orchestral manoeuvres in the dark, sort of like very gothic sort of things. We thought, well, let's just do the opposite as per usual, and it stuck.
So what precipitated the end of Blancmange in '86?
Probably. What happens to everybody? You just burn out. Basically, you can't sustain. If your first album, how long has it taken to write? 2, 3, 4, 5 years. I don't know. However long the band's been going. Then you got to do the next one within 18 months. Then another one after that. Again, and you think, why? What is point? You think, well, that's what happens to everybody. You get your 15 minutes or your 45 minutes of fame. But unless you're sort of, you're, I think, slightly mad, frankly speaking, to be, one of the big boys,
right.
Then I'd rather do something else, which is what we both did.
And yet, 20 some odd years later, you guys get back together again and start making music. How did that come about?
Yeah, I missed the first part of your question, but I think you asked, kind of what brought us together again, and
yes,
why we've, We've always kept in touch and seen each other over the years. although we haven't worked in the studio until, kind of last few years together, we haven't worked again in the studio. But it was a couple of things that, kind of been mentioned over the years, saying, should we do something? And we left it. And it never seemed like there was a right time. And then a while back, Steve and I got talking, and we both said yes on the same day, basically.
We just started writing stuff, and here we are. So that's about it, really. Nothing more interesting than that.
I would imagine what's going to happen is we're going to have for digital kind of. In fact, we are speaking to people about a digital release, but I also spoke to. There's a possibility of what we might do is do a limited edition on vinyl.
Oh, excellent.
Which I think would be really nice, but that's not, confirmed at all.
Right.
But yeah, the idea. I mean, we've written an album. Well, we've written a lot more than an album, but we will try and get an album out there. So it's see how it goes. But it's been great. Really, really good fun doing it, and quite interesting how you kind of set. It's quite a nice. It was a really nice feeling getting back in the studio with Stephen and just doing. After all those years, we seem to kind of slot in, and know where what we were up to and what have you. Hopefully, it reflects in what people will hear. So,
where can people find out about what's happening with Blancmange, or listen to some new music? Is there a website?
We got well at the moment we've got the site that we're running on MySpace,
right? And
we've also got a Blancmange site, which is the 3 W's with a dot, blancmange.biz, B-I-Z.
All right.
And so you can have a nosy at those, and we try and update it from time to time. Who knows? We might toy with it, do some live work.
Oh,
or maybe I'll just send the cardboard cutout myself.
Well, you do have a demo up there. I did hear you've got a demo for a song up there.
Yeah. Coffee was on the. That was a demo for that. That will definitely be on the album. A mixed version which she's done, and they used to say in the can, but now it's kind of digitized and safely stored away on a disc.
Right. In the disc doesn't have quite the same romance to it.
Nah.
In the can. Well, listen, guys, this has been great talking to you. We've all been big fans here at WFDU for quite some time, and you guys certainly get a lot of airplay. In fact, it was only, I think it was last week or the week before, Big Al, who's on after me on Saturday nights, played one of your records all the way through, the whole album from start to finish.
Have you been sacked?
No. Big Al still works here.
Yeah, me.
Well,
that's something, is that?
So we heard the whole thing.
Oh, fantastic! Yeah, God, that would frighten me. Probably. You get angry of. I don't know what's your. Where could I be phoning from? Give me a kind of. In England, it says angry of East Dulwich.
Oh yeah, like you could be of Brooklyn or the Bronx.
Angry of Brooklyn.
Right. I can't believe I had to sit and listen to 45 minutes.
That's right, and I wrote them. Well, I wrote half of them. I wrote half of them with Steve, and that's it. Oh, dear.
Yeah, well, listen, it's been great having you on the show. We're glad that you're back. We're going to hear the extended mix of Don't Tell Me in just a second, but once again, so glad you guys have reunited, and you're making new music, and we look forward to hearing it and playing it on this show.
Oh, it's a pleasure, Ghosty.
Yeah, that's really nice.
It is nice. Very flattered that you wanted to have a chat with us.